I've been a VA physician for the past 22 years. One of the reasons is to serve Korean veterans. And I have taken care of a lot of Korean veterans. And I consider that as my ministry. So if you have any medical problems, and if you're willing to drive all the way down to Salem, please let me know. I'll do my best to help you. Whenever I sit down with Korean veterans in my clinic, I try to ask them about their experiences in Korea. Thankfully, most of Korean veterans say good things about their experience. It's not because of the war, like Pastor you described. It is there was their duty, and their fight was for the freedom, for people, whom they never met, and there was just incredible sacrifice for them because they were young, they were in their early 20s. Some of them were just only 19, and whenever I hear their story, I get choked up because of their sacrifice, and because of that, Korea is such a now a prosperous country, and sometimes I'm just amazed to hear that now Korea is economically ranked number 11 in the whole world. So that is because of all of you here in this room. So I really thank you and praise you. Thank you very much.
What I'll remember about, first of all, let me just thank all the Korean War veterans that made this day possible. I was a generation behind you all, and our job was to keep the peace that you all admirably established. And I went to Panmunjom, and I stared at the communists across the table, and I went to the DMZ, and I listened to all of that stuff back and forth. And I realized and most importantly, I've seen the Korean country grow like you all wouldn't believe. It is so absolutely beautiful. And I experienced living with the Korean people in the middle of nowhere out on the Western Peninsula that sticks out into the Yellow Sea. And my missile unit was about 125 GIs. We had about 25 Korean national soldiers that worked with us. And we were surrounded by two wonderful battalion commands of infantry that provided ground defense for us. And through that entire year of being away from my family during the bicentennial of the United States, and watching on TV, not TV, but in the newspapers, whatever, about the celebrations and the fireworks and all that routine, I felt pretty sorry for myself. I'm in Korea, halfway around the world, woe is me. Two things I'll never forget was, one, getting a phone call one day that my missile unit was selected to receive a USO show from the Republic of Korea government. They put together about 50 Korean nationals who came out and sang Yankee Doodle Dandy and the Grand Ole Flag and the national anthem, and there was a guy dressed up as Uncle Sam and a guy dressed up as or a lady dressed up as the Statue of Liberty, and they made us feel like we were right at home, and yet I was halfway around the world, and I will never ever forget that. I was so proud to be where I was and to be around the Korean people that I felt so strong about, and that love just poured out to me. The second thing I'll never forget is Pastor Song. Pastor Song was the Korean pastor that lived in the village right outside of my front door. We were so isolated, our battalion chaplain never was able to come out but just once every month or so. But Pastor Song made it a priority to take all the GIs and bring them down to his church every Sunday morning, and we had church service together. And it was incredible. The GIs are singing out of our hymn book, you know, Amazing Grace and all this, and the Koreans are sitting right next to us singing the same song, same music, different words, and it didn't matter. So to me, it was like, you know, you're speaking in tongues. Everybody was one big happy family, loving and serving the Lord. And Pastor Song and I are very, very close. And when this man right here sent me an email out of the blue Thursday morning, and I got it Friday because I was out of town, I thought, my gosh, all these memories just came back. This is little Pastor Song, okay? And so I'm thrilled to be here, and God bless you all. Thank you for your service, and I really admire you for doing this kind of thing to bring us all together and to say thanks to all these wonderful men that served their country and the ladies behind them that made it happen in the early 1950s. Thank you. I would encourage you to go back if you've never been there and see what it's like. What it's like is because what you guys did. That's really cool.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm Bill Cook. She's having the best time. First of all, I was a graduate tech, and I was inducted into the Army as second lieutenant on June 15, 1952. I had a strangest career, if you'll ever believe, but it did happen to me. I got inducted. I was sent to Fort Meade, Maryland, and I went out to Fort Miles. There's a firing range, and I was supposed to judge the shooting. After that, I'll never know. But anyway, shortly after I was inducted, I had to get called up to go to Korea, and I was with a group. We took off from Travis Airport. We went into Hawaii. I never will forget those pocket boats and those hangars in World War II. Never forgotten that. But anyway, we got to Japan, and I stayed around there. And I was an instructor. I never understood that because I couldn't instruct anybody. But anyway, I was an instructor, and I was sent to Korea to do some instructing over there in communication. And it was a life experience to do that. I went up to Freedom Village. I went all up and down Korea. And I really enjoyed it. But I want to share with you a little joke. It was funny thing that happened to me. We got to Hawaii. They met up with this. I decided I was going to spend the war in most of the civilian clothes, which we still had. Didn't work. But I went to took up with this B-29 crew that was coming back, and they were very nice to me and took me under their wing. And the name of the B-29 was Command Decision. The name of it. And I heard the pilot talking to the co-pilot, and the co-pilot said, "Hey, Chief, I don't think that number 3 engine's going to make it." He said, "That doesn't bother me a bit." He says, "Bombay is full of furniture for the general and we'll just dump the furniture." So that's what happened. So I enjoyed that. But in 1958, I was living in Greensboro where I met my wife, that I had. And they had a display down at the local Sears store. And I went down there and looked, and it had nose art on it, Command Decision. So it was the same B-29, but lost its wing. And I saw that, but I never have forgotten it. It was a wonderful experience for me.